Hello, ground passers, and welcome to the first mini pod of this season. It's me, Anastasia. Welcome to another episode of the Ground Pass podcast. And a couple of things. If you're new around these parts, which there are a lot of you new around these parts, so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, you can tell I am in a different location. And if you're listening, I am recording from a hotel room, so not my usual recording space. And again, for all the new people, this is a mini pod. What we usually do on the podcast is we have a full podcast with Nick and I, or me and a guest every other week. And then in the alternating weeks, we have a mini pod, which is just either me or Nick. And it's really short, bite-sized information of what happened in the week of tennis. It's a way that we can manage our schedule. And so we're not super overloaded, especially after a Grand Slam where we already do a lot more episodes than we usually do. So I'm here in this hotel room, which I will talk about in a second, with a plastic glass of wine and, just ready to unwind after a very long travel day. So why am I in a hotel room? Well, I am at the Dallas Open, the ATP 500. It is an indoor tournament and it is our first tournament on site this season. I have not been to the Dallas Open before. This is my very first time, so I'm excited to cover the tournament and get to know it and tell you guys all about it. If you're new here or you haven't followed us on site before, the best way to follow us on site is by subscribing to our Substack newsletter. All the information to our Substack will be in the description of this podcast. But on our Substack, I usually update there daily with a daily email from the grounds, about what is going on site, what the tournament is like. It's giving you sort of a ground's eye view of a tournament, especially if you've never been there and you're thinking about going to a tournament and you want to know what it's like, where the best seats are, where the practice courts are, who the players that you can see there. Usually also what I do is because I do a lot of interviews of players on site, so you'll get a lot of those interviews in our newsletter. I'm going to be extending that also to our YouTube membership. So we do have a YouTube membership program and also a Patreon. And it launched with the launch of our documentary series Off Season, where we're putting basically extended interviews on there from Off Season, but we're also going to be adding special features of basically our on-site coverage. So if we have like exclusive interviews, those will go in our YouTube membership and our Patreon. It's just a way that we can basically support Ground Pass and, try and go to more tournaments, produce more documentary series. We've got to pay for it somehow. So basically our YouTube membership and Patreon is going to be helping us do that. But let's get into this week in tennis. It was not as quiet a week as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a pretty chill week, post-slam, keeping it chill. If you follow us on social media, you'd have seen our This Week in Tennis, where I was like, I'm not going to watch that much. I watched a lot more tennis than I said I was going to, which usually is what happens because I usually just have tennis in the background when I'm working, or I just put it on and I'm just listening to it versus watching. So that was great. And there was just a lot of stuff happening. So let's dive right in because we want to keep this episode short. Starting with the WTA. And the WTA, it was the beginning of a very good week for Brits. The Brits had an exceptional week, starting with Emma Raducanu, who got to her very first final since that US Open in 2021 that she won. She got to the final of Cluj. The Transylvania Open, yes, they do have a Dracula impersonator at this tournament. You have to follow them on social media because it is quite hilarious. It's one of my favorite tournaments to just like watch on the WTA, just for all the antics that are going on around it. But yeah, Emma Raducanu got to the final, which she actually lost to Sorana Cirstea. Soraya is from Romania, where this tournament is, and this is her last year on tour. So it's really nice that she kind of got a win on her last year on tour. But for Emma to even get to the finals, that was pretty impressive because she just got rid of what is, I guess, her 10th coach in 6 years. So since she won that Australian Open, she just cannot keep a coach. I do think it is part of her process. Like I think I have read some articles where the way it's been explained is she likes different voices and likes to sort of like go from one to the other. It's interesting. It is working for her though. I mean, she literally just got rid of Francisco Roig, who is a former member of Team Nadal, and then she gets to the final of her very next tournament. So it's working for her. It was not a great loss. I think she lost 6-2, 6-love. So it was a pretty tough loss, but she did get to the final. So looking forward to seeing what Emma Raducanu does this season. It's hard for me to sort of, predict things with her. I think she's just such a special case on the WTA tour that I'm just like, we get what we get, people. We get what we get. But keeping with the Brits, Katie Boulter. Katie Boulter won the tournament in Ostrava. It is her 4th title. And, she had a pretty tough end to last season, really dropped in the rankings, did not have a great Australian Open. So this is a pretty nice way to bounce back, especially since she also has a new team. She doesn't change as much as Emma Raducanu, that is for sure. Her last coach was with her for a very long time. I think she was just trying to shake things up a little bit based on the fact that she had such a poor end to last season. But nice that she gets a win. It's a nice, really great bounce back from last year, and hopefully she can climb back up the rankings because she's really fun to have on tour. Just her and Alex de Minaur, her fiance, just make a really good pairing on the tennis tour. So it's nice to see when they're both doing well. And the surprise winner of this week was Sara Bejlek, Czech player, 20 years old. The last time we talked about her on the podcast was last year at Roland Garros, where she had a really great win against Marta Kostyuk. She was doing some really great things, and we were kind of thinking, okay, Sara Bejlek, she had been injured before, but she was coming back, had a really great Roland Garros, but then she kind of just disappeared. Didn't really hear much from her since the clay season of last year. And then out of nowhere, like our friend McEnroe would say, she wins the WTA 500 Abu Dhabi, and she beat Katerina Alexandrova in the final to win, who, Katerina is a top 10 player. So yeah, just a really surprising win. Don't know what to expect from Sara going forward. I'm just adding her to the extremely long list of Czech players that pop out of the woodwork every now and then and win a title. But really nice to see her sort of keeping up that form that we did see last year. And who knows, she might join kind of our group of next-gen players on the WTA that we've been talking about so much since the Australian Open. There's one more player I want to talk about that did really, really well in Abu Dhabi, but I'm going to save that for when we get into our off-season roundup, because off-season effect is a real thing. Yes, let's jump into the ATP really quick. Is still the indoor king. He defended successfully his title that he won last year in Montpellier. He won it again this year. He loves indoor tournaments. He wins them all the time at this point, but really nice to see him bounce back from what was a very disappointing Australian Open. I think we all went into the Australian Open with really high hopes for Felix Auger-Aliassime, and then he lost in the first round. where he cramped, which is just not a thing I think we associate with Felix Auger-Aliassime. So it was very kind of a very odd tournament for him, this Australian Open. So nice to see him bounce back, and hopefully it is all up and up from here on out, because he is a really great addition to the top 10 on tour. Really love. He just doesn't impress, especially speak like all the other players. So it's really nice to have a different view on the ATP tour. He, in the quarterfinals, played against Arthur Fils, and yes, Arthur Fils is back in his first tournament back. He makes it to the quarterfinals. Really great to see him back on tour, playing very well. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he stays healthy. Again, another great person to have in the mix, especially when we start talking about what players can possibly challenge Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. These are the players that we're talking about, and hopefully they can all stay healthy and keep winning. Then we have Jack Draper. Jack Draper, again, another player who was out for a very long time, is back on tour, along with the tournament in Montpellier, another tournament that we had, or group basically of tournaments we had on the ATP tour with the Davis Cup qualifiers. So just all over the world, there were tons of Davis Cup qualifiers happening. We actually had a really sweet moment with New Zealand. New Zealand were in the Davis Cup qualifying this year. They won their tie. And the reason I bring that up is because Ellie Majelli, who has been a guest on the podcast. Hey, Ellie. Her boyfriend, James Watt, plays for New Zealand. And it was just a very emotional scene when teams like New Zealand qualify for the next stage of the Davis Cup qualifiers, because they just haven't before. It's their first time. So it was really nice to see that. Nigeria, for example, they also made it through their round. I think they were playing against Bosnia, and they made it to the next round of Davis Cup qualifiers. Someone who we follow on X, her handle is Tennis Crazy Lady. Actually, she lives in Lagos, and she got to sort of commentate on the tournament there, the Davis Cup qualifier. So that was really nice to see. And Jack Draper led Team Britain to a 4-love win, and they're on to the next round of Davis Cup qualifiers. The thing with Jack Draper, though, is I'm not really sure what his status is right now. He looked good. He won his first match back in straight sets. He was supposed to play Doha next, an ATP 500 event in Doha, which is not this week, but next week. And it looks like he has withdrawn from the tournament. He is no longer on the entry list, so not really sure what that means. Waiting to hear official word, because after the Davis Cup tie, he did not seem injured. He seemed pretty fine. So not sure why he has withdrawn from Doha. Hopefully he's not still injured. He has a lot of points to defend coming up. So that was the events that I paid attention to on the ATP side. And now let's dive into the off-season athletes, because the off-season effect is a real thing, people. Like, this was just something bubbling, on the side, where a bunch of the off-season athletes were doing pretty well. If you don't know who the off-season athletes are and you haven't watched our documentary series, hello, why haven't you done that yet? The first 2 episodes are out. I will leave links to both of them in the description of this podcast. But we've got Ethan Quinn, Elliot Spizzirri, Colton Smith, Haley Baptiste, and Camila Osorio, who all were featured in our documentary series about the behind the scenes of the off season. The response, again, has been so great. Super humbled by just everyone just loving the show and wanting more of it. The comment we're getting a lot of right now is we want longer episodes, and people, I wish we could do longer episodes. If you want us to do longer episodes, please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share the series with your friends and family. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. The more interaction we get, the more we can sort of push the show, and hopefully we can make more and more of them in the future. Also, what really does help is, if you have the means to subscribe to our Patreon or become a YouTube member or our Substack as well, these are all different ways that you can support us and help us sort of cover more tournaments on site and keep producing episodes of the off season, which we totally want to do more of. But back to the athletes who are doing so well. And let's start back with the WTA in Abu Dhabi, the WTA 500 level event, and Hailey Baptiste making her very first semifinal at this WTA 500 level. Hailey in the off season really wanted to work on her fitness. Like, that was her big goal for the off season. We talk about it in the next episode of the off season, which is coming out February 15th, where we cover a lot of her discussion on fitness and her wanting to work on that a lot. And it totally paid off at this event in Abu Dhabi, where she battled through a lot of 3-set matches, beating top 20 players to make it to the semifinals. And it was just super impressive. It was really great to see all of that work come to fruition. Really awesome to see where Hailey can take things for the rest of the season, because she's looking really good. Another player who did really well was Ethan Quinn. Ethan Quinn played for Team USA at the Davis Cup for the very first time, and he won a 3-set battle against Fabian Marozsan. So Team USA were playing against Team Hungary, and it was just such an excellent match. He saved 4 match points and was able to win the set in a 3rd set tiebreak that went to I think it was 11-13 or something like that. It was a pretty long tiebreak, but really great showing from Ethan Quinn in his very first Davis Cup appearance. And finally, Colton Smith. Colton Smith defends his title at the Cleveland Challenger. Now, last year, Colton Smith's big breakout was at the Cleveland Challenger last year, and he defended his title and he won the final today. As I record, today is Sunday, so really great for him. And yeah, off-season athletes just keep on keeping on. Camila Osorio got through qualifying and she was able to qualify for the first WTA 1000 level event in Doha. So that is coming up next week. So awesome to see her, see how she does there. And let's dive into what is coming up this week. Now, like I said, we're in Dallas. So we are going to be covering the Dallas Open in person for the very first time. Really excited. I have never attended an indoor tournament at this level before. I have been to an indoor challenger, which I did in Champaign in 2024. So I've been at an indoor tournament before, but I've never covered an indoor tournament at this level before. So it will be really interesting to check out the site, see what it's like, and again, bring all of that information to you in case you ever want to attend the Dallas Open in the future, which you really should. The field is stacked. Taylor Fritz is playing, Tommy Paul is playing, Ethan Quinn is coming over from Davis Cup to play, Elliot Spizzirri, who is also an off-season player, is playing this event as well. So super excited to see how this goes. Also, there's the doubles. Chris Harrison and Evan King, with their new partners, are going to be playing this event as well. What else is happening this week? Some other events that are happening this week that I'm not going to be really paying attention to. I'm going to try as much as I can to, but when we're back with Nick next week for a full episode, I'm sure Nick will definitely have eyes on all the other tournaments happening, and we can all combine all our information and talk about those. But Doha, which is a WTA 1000 event. I know I keep saying Doha, but they're 2 different events that are going to be happening in back-to-back weeks. So this week coming up, it is a WTA 1000 event in Doha, and the following week is the ATP 500 event in Doha. Yes, I know. But this week is the WTA 1000 level event. It's the first 1000 level event of the season for the WTA. It is happening very close to the Australian Open ending. 2 weeks after the Australian Open ended, and they're having a 1,000 level event already. Yes, we have already had a bunch of withdrawals from this event because of, I think, how close it is to the Australian Open. Jessica Pegula is not playing. Arina Sabalenka is not playing, and I kind of understand that. It is pretty close to the end of a Grand Slam, and if you went deep in a Grand Slam, it really doesn't give you that much time to sort of reset, turn around, and go. There is still tons of players who are playing it. Coco Gauff is playing, Amanda Anisimova, Iga Swiatek, Qin Wenzhen is back. She is also in the field in Doha, so really excited to see how this happens. I'm going to try my best to have some eyes on it at some point while I'm here in Dallas. Also happening is the ATP 250 event in Rotterdam. The defending champion for that is Carlos Alcaraz, but he's not playing. He won the Australian Open, so he's taking the extra week off before he plays at the ATP event in Doha next week. But Alex de Minaur is back, who was a finalist last year, so he will be playing. Arthur Fils is also playing in Rotterdam, so it'll be nice to see him there. Then there is a 250 in Buenos Aires, so the Golden Swing, which are the clay court tournaments that happen in February in South America. They have started up. Matteo Berrettini is back, so he is returning from injury. He did not play the Australian Open, so this is the first time we're seeing him this season. He is back. Lorenzo Musetti was supposed to be playing this event, but he's still healing up from the injury he suffered at the Australian Open, so he will not be in Buenos Aires, but they still have a good field of Latin American players that will be playing the event in Buenos Aires, so you can check that out as well. So yes, that is all that I have for you now on this mini pod. Want to keep it short and sweet. A couple of admin notes. We have a sale going on right now. I will leave a link in the description of this podcast to our store. All of our shirts from the summer, so our summer swing shirts with all the tournaments on the back of it, are on sale right now. $5 off the shirt, free shipping in the US and in some other countries. All the information will be on our website, so you can check that out. Trying to make room for a new shirt that is coming out very, very soon. I am trying to get out the pre-orders for our spring swing shirts. New tournaments, new year. I'm really excited to see this, to kind of show this to you. I have seen some mock-ups of the new shirt already with the spring tournaments on them, and I'm really, really excited to share that with you. Hopefully I can get the pre-order out by the 3rd week of February so you guys can start putting your orders in, and hopefully they can start shipping by mid-March to you. It'd be nice to get them out so you can wear them at the Miami Open or Charleston if you're going to those later spring tournaments. If you see me on site, if you happen to be in Dallas and coming to the Dallas Open and you see me on site, let me know. Also, you can hit us up on social media, send me a DM, anything like that, and maybe we can meet up and have like a little cute meetup. Or if you want to buy a shirt, I do have a few shirts with me, not a lot, because first of all, there are not that many left, but I also could not come with 20 shirts. So yes, but I do have some shirts. If you see me on site, I can sell them to you. But that's all I've got. Again, like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to this on a podcast player of your choice, please leave us a 5-star rating if you love what we're doing. Leave a comment. Send us questions. We're going to start the Q&As back up again. The Q&As kind of stopped a little bit for Grand Slam season because it was just so hectic. But for the next full episode, I'm going to bring back the Q&A series, Ask Ground Pass, especially as we ramp up to the spring swing of tournaments. We have already been getting a lot of questions about tournament tickets and things like that for Indian Wells and Miami. Our tournament guides are gonna start dropping next week, so stay tuned for that. And if you have any specific questions about tournaments, feel free to hit us up and I will answer as many as I can. It's getting late. I've got to get to site early tomorrow, so I'm going to end it here. good night. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys for all of the support. Again, the response to off season has been really, really insane, but I'm loving that you guys are loving it because we put a lot of hard work and love into that series. So thank you. I hope to see you somewhere on the grounds pretty soon. Bye, guys.